Go live or
Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. There are no accidents. We're so excited to be here today. Today, we're going to wake up the inner giant, and we're going to learn how to embrace a whole bunch of change. Stick around. Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. I'm Ryan Morris, co-creator of A Tribe of Giants and Wake Up with Giants TV, and I'm here with your host, the other better half of that creation, Nicholas T. Smith.
There's no better half, man. Just two holes.
It makes it sound like we're married. We're kind of like right? Joined at the hip. A little less now because we don't work together 8 hours, 10 hours a day.
There is that part. Yeah.
You know what? It's still good. We still have the phone and technology and
do you want to know something I just learned, Ryan?
Huh.
Baby kangaroos are only about 1 inch tall when they're born. That just popped up on my phone. I had to share it.
You know, sometimes
everybody needs to know that.
Yeah. Just like they don't need to know.
Yeah.
I miss you. Yeah. But we get to be reunited right here on Wake Up with Giants TV every Sunday, and we're excited that you guys are here. We've got a killer show, but before we get to the show, we have a couple of things. We've got tomorrow night in the Tribe of Giants. If you don't follow us on Facebook, go to A Tribe of Giants. Don't do it yet. We don't want you to lose where you're at with the show.
Yeah, unless you watch where we're at right there.
I guess you can go. Yeah,
pull
you can
it up
do that
live
too.
there, YouTube, everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, we're everywhere you want to be. That sounds like somebody else's theme already.
Not creepy. Yeah. There we are.
Tomorrow night, it's what, 7:30? Is it 7:30 our time?
8 p.m. tomorrow night. So
8 p.m. Mountain.
MDT. Yep.
Yep.
So
we have
7 p.m. Pacific.
It's our integrative book roadmap.
Roadmap training.
And that'll be in the tribe. Nick is gonna. Well, no, Laura's gonna be doing that one, right?
Possibly. We're gonna see when we show up. So
hey,
it might
cool.
be me, it might be Laura, but it's gonna be
everyone.
Powerful.
Yeah. Show up there. That we go through the book in a little bit of a different format than you've probably ever seen an author do. He's going to teach you, or she's going to teach you, or we're going to teach you our 12 journeys. It's just a little smidgen, a little tasting, if you will, of our 12 journeys. And then we have the SG12, I believe, October 16th. And that is a deep dive. That is an 8-week program. And so if you want more information about that and you are looking to absolutely transform your life, go to 12journeyscoaching.com, and then you can find us on YouTube, and we're under Wake Up with Giants TV. Hit the alert button, subscribe, so you know when we go live every single dang time. And now it is time for our show with all of these beautiful humans that have shown up this morning.
I love it.
Will you introduce our guest?
I'd love to. So we're honored to have Eva Condron-Wells, Irish Condron, right? Not Condron.
Yes.
So she's a true visionary catalyst for change. And my thing's not scrolling. So Eva's remarkable journey from her academic roots to San Jose State University to her transformative global initiative showcases her dedication to fostering meaningful change. With over 2 decades of experience as a mentor, volunteer, leader, and advisor, she has empowered engineers, healthcare professionals, and business leaders alike. Her unique approach to change is not just about adapting, but embracing it with heart, compassion, and insight. So whether it's her role on the Emancipatory Education Board or her contributions to Habitat for Humanity, is it Calaveras? Is that where that is? Humanity
Calaveras, which is Spanish for skull. See, we're learning already. Okay.
we're gonna learn a lot
Spanish.
here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Eva's impact is felt far and wide. So let's dive into her story and discover how she inspires others to not only face change, but to welcome it with open arms. Eva, welcome to the show.
Thank you both so very, very much. And I have to give a shout out to my friend Heather Wisely, who nominated me, introduced me to you both. And I'm just great. There she is. I'm very
Heather,
grateful for her family, and connecting me with both of you.
Well, the beauty of all of this is that we don't know much about you, and we're going to discover everything about you in about an hour.
What I do know is hopping into the the pre-show warm-up.
Yeah.
Her energy is amazing, and you can feel how great of a human she is right off the bat. And she like welcomed me into my own show, like, "Hey, Ryan, how's it going?" I was like, "Oh, hello." I thought I was on her podcast. So this
well, maybe someday.
Hey, we love it. So thank you so much for being here. So let's dive in.
I like this comment right there. Whole pea soup.
Oh, hold on. Sorry.
Hold on. We're both going after it here. Or split pea soup. Yeah.
Why do we have to choose?
Whole thing, man. Yeah.
Sometimes you get all of it mixed together.
So, Eva, we're going to dive in. So we have a format and a formula that we follow, but we always go way off course. So however this goes, there's no wrong way to do it. But our goal here is to inspire the viewer, the person on the other side of the screen, into their giantness. Our view is that every person is born with that in there. It's like the acorn is born with the oak tree in it. And we're born with the giant in us. And we tend to live in a way that the smallness is what shows up in the world. So we tend to play way smaller than what we're capable of.
Yep.
And we like to start with a non-conscious journey of where people identify and who they think they are and where that came from. So it goes back to family development, cultural development, social development, life experiences. They feel like they're less significant than they really are. And I would wonder, in your own life, was there a point in your life where you thought you were something less than greatness? Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was the youngest of 2 brothers, and then I had 2 step siblings. So I was the youngest. So from the beginning, I knew I wasn't the smartest, the fastest, the strongest. Like my whole position of rank was preset. Like, you're the small one, right? And on top of that, I had really brilliant brothers. Like, I would go into school and meet teachers in public schools, and they would say, oh, you're so-and-so's sister. And I'm like, yeah, nothing like them. But yeah, that's right. Yeah. I am their sister. So I had constant reminders of these other giants around me and who I followed in the footsteps of. Even in school, by teachers who innocently compared. So yeah, it was constant.
But what did you think about yourself? Like, who did you think you were?
Well, interestingly enough, and I tell a lot of people that I'm close with these things about me. So now everyone's close to me. I had a loving mom. She just loved me. She oozed love. She had a temper at times, so don't get me wrong, she's a human being. And even she would use shame in her parenting at times in Spanish. And so you didn't really know, but you knew something was wrong because of how she said it, right?
And an occasional flip-flop thrown at you.
No flip-flop. She wasn't into chocolates.
No chocolates.
Yeah, she would spank. So, but she would allow us to stuff our pants with toilet paper. Like, she was that mom. Okay.
Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, my mom wouldn't. I put magazines
She's like,
in there.
The spanking's coming. You better go stuff your pants.
She'd give us a minute, right? And I'm like, and later on, she would cry after she spanked us. She was that loving. Like, she loved us so much. Hi, Colorado. So yeah, I think my mom, being as loving as who she was, she filled my cup. She filled my heart. She filled my soul. And I would be in circumstances in life, have had horrible things happen to me in my life, but I knew it wasn't my fault. So somehow that woman poured enough of love into me that I loved myself.
Wow. Yeah, that's in the book, The Giants and the Smalls, there's a part in there where Rit asks the giant to tell him his story. And the giant tells his story. He says, my parents were giants. They were always doing giant things for others. They would love on others.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a point where he had to learn for himself to do that. He was born a small, just like Rit, but he had to learn to become the giant. And you can have this, and we've had people on the show that have had horrible upbringings. We've had people that have had amazing upbringings. And in every case, each person had to discover themselves, no matter, right? Like whether their parents did a great job or a terrible job, it didn't matter. It came back to the individual really discovering themselves.
Yes.
And so in this awareness state that my mom poured love into me, and I had some really terrible things happen in my life. And I was able to detach my identity from those things. Can you speak a little bit about that, and only be as detailed as you feel comfortable?
Sure.
But
it can get really, like, this is a Sunday morning. I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty of like the bowels of humanity here. So I'll keep it conceptually clear.
Okay.
But we'll just say, like, I'll use an example of play as a child. We would play different games, and whoever was the one that was being, punished or locked out or tortured. I use torture lightly. Okay. I was not tortured. But locked out of the house. You were the bad guy, so you got put in jail or you got tied up. So I got really good at some things. Okay. I got really good at untying knots, and anyone that's really close to me knows that that's one of my like hidden talents is I can untie any knot. In jewelry, strings, rope, whatever. I can untie.
Hate untying like tangles in like electrical cords and jewelry, and
I love
my
it.
shoelaces. I just went to Velcro.
Shoelaces, the worst.
It's like a Rubik's Cube.
And then you pull on them, and it's worse.
Sending them to you. You'll be getting some packages.
Perfect. Mail me your knots. But what happened was it was whoever was kind of getting the raw end of the deal in the situation. Okay. I would say in my mind, what's wrong with them? Why don't they see me? Because I knew who I was. I knew I was happy. I knew I was, ready to play, ready to dance, ready to sing, ready to, be goofball. And so I just didn't understand it. I didn't have that frame of reference to go do that to someone. It was foreign in my mind. Like, why would you do that? That was a constant question of why would you hurt someone, or why would you alienate someone, or why would you do that? It didn't make sense. It just was foreign, but it would be done to me. That's why it was actually somewhat easy for me to separate. But I was a very trusting person. Even as I grew into my adulthood, I still would trust and love, and I would get taken advantage of in different ways. But then I would choose. I would still say, okay, that was crappy. That was awful. That was terrible. I would never wish that on anyone, but I'm still going to choose to trust people.
Okay. Can we hang here?
Yep.
This is going to be powerful because
Yep.
We're hanging.
And we'll pivot, and we'll come back, and if we don't, it's okay. We found another cool path, right? It's like, oh, we should go down this path. We'll squirrel a little bit, but what you're presenting here, people have events in their lives that are just truly tragic, truly unwanted, undeserving, unrequested, unsolicited, right? And they begin to identify with those. They begin to tell themselves that they are that they're deserving of that they somehow brought that on themselves, right? And what I'm hearing in what you're sharing is that your mom's pouring of love into you helped you to recognize that that's not me. This thing can happen to me. This thing can be an event. And I'd really like to hang here for a minute, because I know there are a lot of people that watch this show that really get stuck right here. They can't get past right here, because whatever happened in their life becomes the story they tell over and over again, and it becomes self-fulfilling.
Yep.
What's coming up?
You have a pen in your life. It's in your hand, and you are choosing to write what is next, moment to moment. I can't change the crappy things people did to me.
Mm.
It happened. That was a function of some of my choices and some of their choices. But I live with the choices of what I do with what was done to me.
Yeah.
If I'm choosing to replay a horrible experience in my life and associate ownership with what happened, I need to revisit how I'm writing my story. Why? Why
Yeah.
would I write a story like that? Why would I write a story where I've been subjected to something and then I'm the villain?
Mm.
It doesn't make any sense. We are
Yeah.
not like
Well,
but
say,
here's the oh sorry, go ahead.
no, hang on to that because I'll interrupt you. So make sure I get back to what you want to share. Okay. So anchor that in. The villain, how come I become the villain of something that happened to me? What a powerful statement. And this isn't from a statement of shame. You're not shaming people. You're not blaming or guilting people, which is what we have a tendency to do. You're really questioning, why would I do that to myself and make myself the villain in the story of a thing that happened to me, right? That I didn't choose.
No.
And can you remember where you left off there? I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, no, thank you for highlighting it. I um mm, I've had a lot of recent realizations, I'll put it that way, through not easy circumstances. And some people can confuse my decision to choose happiness as a like Pollyannish, why are you so happy? I've had people ask, why are you so
I love
happy?
Pollyanna.
Well,
Right.
and why would you choose it? Because I see things as a choice. I see
Mm.
things as a choice. And because I also know how our brains work, I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be a neurologist. So, but I wasn't strong enough at math. And there's a whole story there too. But when I learned more about how our brains work, right? Our brains believe exactly what we tell our brains.
Mm.
So it's almost like choosing what I put in sorry for the noise, put in this water to drink. Would I put like oil in it? No. So
Unless you're,
why would I choose what I'm putting? If I look at my thoughts as something I'm consuming,
yeah,
what am I choosing to consume?
yeah.
It's not complicated, but we're not thinking about how we think.
Let's nerd out a little bit. I love to nerd out on this, and I think it's really important that people understand how their brains work. It's not just a bunch of gears going on up there. It's not software, like a computer. This is the most complex thing in the universe, with
Beautiful.
86 billion neurons and 85 billion glial cells and 2.5 petabytes of information. And
Quit talking
Beep
dirty,
bop
Nick.
boop. Beep bop boop.
He's
say
all,
more.
say glial cells again.
Tell your husband he might want to be in the room for this so he can learn to speak this language. But the beauty of the brain is that the brain is not broken. In fact, and I want to hang here is there are studies that show people are born with half a brain and they would never know it. They would never know it because the capability of the brain is so intense that it can function and adapt to its environment even with half a brain. There's a story of a 3-year-old who was having seizures and they removed half of her brain and the other half took over and she lived a normal life. So it's not, even with the challenges that we may face, is not necessarily a challenge of the brain. It's a challenge of what we've plugged into it as our story. And the brain is neutral. It doesn't care if it's useful or not useful. It will help you automate anything that you repeatedly do, right? Or you
Yes.
repeatedly tell. And then it will perceive that in the environment and confirm it because that's what you taught it to do. And it's not right or wrong, right? It's just simply it's a programming device that will take any environment and adapt to it, and it will take whatever you want to teach it and it will make that your reality, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What
Yes.
do you want to add to that?
So, what are you telling yourself?
Mm.
And stop telling yourself things that are limiting and start telling yourself things. There we go. Like, no, I'm not the villain in my story. And
Yeah.
you've got to so but then it's like, okay, where does that all come from and what's the story and what's the feeling and what all of that. If people are stuck or angry, this is not hard. You need love. You need more love. Okay? It's not complicated. If you don't know what love is, go learn about love. Go
Mm.
look at all the ways love can be.
Mm.
And the other thing that I've realized with this is in my own sort of reflections, is your body is wise. Your body has a wisdom that we in society, at least in Western society, I don't think we honor the wisdom of our bodies enough. And I'm realizing now that there's a different kind of wisdom and it's in your heart. And I think that you all are tapping into that wisdom of the heart that is related to being the giant.
Hmm.
I think of it as light.
Yeah.
I think of it as light and that life can have darkness conceptually, emotionally, but inside of us we all have light. It's how much of that light do we clear away space for that light, or do we live and learn about love? Do we live in love for ourselves, and do we learn more about what love is and how that is another form of wisdom, not
Yeah.
necessarily conceptual but like body wisdom, the feelings that we have. Anyway, yes, I love that open heart, open mind. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, well, the emotions we had Douglas Knoll on the last show, and he talks about validating emotion. That the biggest challenge he sees in prison systems is that if parents had validated the emotions of these people, most of them would not be in prison today.
Yes.
And we're in a society where emotions are invalidated. You can't
Yeah.
be angry. You can't be crying. Go cry in the other room. I was taught as a kid, don't cry. And I'd cry more because I was told not to cry. So I'd cry even louder, like I want my emotions validated, right? How important in your world and what you see are emotions and feelings when it comes to your growth and development?
It is the foundation. And um, in fact, I created a class on teaching people how to teach and
Mm.
teaching people how to do presentations. And the first part of it is what, as a person facilitating who's guiding a group of people through something, is actually pay attention to what's going on physically for people. So our physicality is foundational, and part of physicality includes emotion, right?
Right.
Even though we can think it's conceptual, but we feel emotion in our body. So if I'm hungry, I'm tired, I have conflict, you feel all of that, and that's a whole other level of wisdom that we need to listen to. And I'm so glad you brought up the prison system and even being a man and emotions. I actually think we don't allow men to be human. That I believe that. And we are seeing the byproduct of that in how I believe it's 90% of crimes are committed by men. That's a
Yeah,
problem.
what I heard too, like your mom, like going back to childhood, she made those distinctions like with you. Like you're very smart as well. Your brothers weren't the only smart ones.
Thank
You
you.
were incredibly smart. It feels like a lot of us, because during those pivotal years we do the best we can with what we have, and our mind reasons as best it can with that age of brain, whatever years those were that you've had those impressions. And then a lot of us didn't learn that stuff. We were taught differently. We saw the world differently because we had these experiences, and everybody had different experiences. Mine weren't so traumatic, but in my own world, my brain created its reasoning, and I carried that all the way through adulthood until I like, and I'm still like learning how to process it in healthy ways, like process life in a healthy way, my emotions in a healthy way. Now that I've gained tools, it's so much easier to do. But the earlier that you can learn how to do that and be shown how to do that and be taught, oh my gosh, it makes a world of difference moving through into adulthood. And so my hat's off to your mom for, not throwing flip-flops, for teaching you how to feel the feelings and to see those distinctions so that you can then turn around and share this information with other people, because you're right. Like, if more people had more love and were taught how to process their emotions and deal with them in a healthy way moving into adulthood, there would be a whole lot less crimes, because instead of them coming out in violent communication ways or self-harm or whatever it is, they would have some processing tools.
Yes. I remember my stepdaughter when she was about 7. She asked me before going to sleep one night, "Why are people mean?" And I was like, "Oh," I wasn't even her stepmom at that point. And I was like, "Ooh," I had the nighttime routine, and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't realize this was part of the nighttime routine, was life philosophy." I didn't have anything prepared, and I just like said what came to my mind and my heart. And I said, "Well, Kelsey, they don't have enough love at home." And that is so true. But even then, we can what ends up happening though is when we're in these situations where people are mean, we're not sitting there going, "Oh, are they missing some love at home?" We get defensive and we protect ourselves. We don't
Yeah.
support people who are angry. We shame them, right? And we do it in our families. It starts there and then it sort of ripples into society. So if we really are talking about how do you do something, right, to change the world or make it a better place, start with yourself and your family and create as much love and support and space for being a human being with feelings and the validation, right? That people have brilliance inside of them, and we're all shining in different ways. We're all capable. We're all highly capable. And that's the other beauty part of the brain, going back to nerding out on the brain. So capable.
Yeah.
It's limitless.
Every one of us has it. Every one of us has it. Some might be a little limited, but the brain works around that. It's like, I don't care. We'll find
That's right.
another way, right? It's
Yes.
plastic. The validation of emotions is we are emotional creatures, primarily emotional creatures, and we use logic to justify our emotional decisions. And the logic that we draw from can be fallacious, logically. Yeah, isn't there a book called Logically Fallacious? I think, not to be confused with something else, right? Because it could be rough. But fallacies, the brain has fallacies, has blind spots. Like the space between our eyes here, we can't really see that. The brain makes it up. So it fills in the gaps. It's like we fill in the gaps, and we fill in the gaps based on who we think we are. And we tend to be emotional. And so when our emotions get invalidated, like in men, we're taught to be stoic, the Augustinian view of the world that, men are the power. They need to be strong, no emotions. Women don't have power, like all this stuff that Augustine put into place. Then if you read that book, De-Escalate by Douglas Noll, it'll blow your mind wide open around emotions. And as men, not to lower us to a stance of non-powerful, it's just that we've been taught a way of being, and society upholds that, right?
Yes.
And so I think we all have a chance to really look at it and say, look, even men are emotional. We see it. We just did a men's retreat about a week and a half ago. And these men, I wish you could see it. They opened up vulnerably. And we had men from all backgrounds. We had a gentleman in there that was gay, and he opened up, and it was beautiful. We had another gentleman that's trying to figure himself out. 2 men that were just, your typical masculine male that just opened up, and it's just, we need that more than we need the tough guy thing, right?
Yes. That there's so much there. I watched the Barbie movie for the first time last night with my husband who watched it the second time with our daughter, and I felt sad for men afterwards. I really did. I don't know. You can go on and on about the Barbie movie, but
That's how I felt watching it too, because
yeah,
and maybe it was because like of the healing that I've done, you know, and almost being shamed or put way back into another box. And I'm like, I was like, that's not how, like, that's like kicking the can the other direction. Like, you know,
yes,
and I don't want to get way into the weeds on you know, and all that, but I think your way of doing things, love. I mean, that's what I highlighted when I first popped in, was how much love I felt hopping into this. Um, it can absolutely help that validate the emotions, create safety,
hmm
elevate your self confidence. It can help boost the self esteem. It's something that then you can start feeling the distinction between healthy tools and non-healthy tools, or non-healthy communication and healthy communication, because you can feel what the difference is. Oh my
yes.
gosh, this is how I feel when dot dot dot, you know, like I feel shame, I feel guilt, I feel this.
Ooh,
Or this is how I feel when somebody validates my emotions. This is how I feel when I'm supported and loved in a healthy way. Oh my
yes,
gosh. And then you start learning how to do that for yourself. And it's a game changer from that point. It
yeah.
doesn't make it easy or perfect.
No, and you know what's wild?
Hmm.
And by the way, congratulations on your personal journey to love yourself and share love. Um, as loving as I feel to most people and people that I've worked with, people, some of my friends are online, and I love people. They know that. Like, I love them. And I love just people, and I think life is amazing. And we're human and we are assholes sometimes. Is it okay for me to say that?
Oh, oh,
Of course. Yes.
that's
So
true.
while I talk about happy and writing our own
We
story,
allow the F word, but not fine. That's the one 4-letter F word. We're like, nah, we're not going to do that one.
that's cool. I respect that.
Yeah.
So, but we can be jerks, and things can irritate us, and different things can irritate us. And um, in my own life, my marriage has not been an easy one. I thought because my husband was funny that he was happy. Mm,
Mm.
he
I get
wasn't.
that.
He wasn't. And he was drawn to me because I was happy. And
Mm.
so we then went through this we've been married in December, will be 18 years. And we've been through a lot together, but I realized only recently, okay, and this is for all the people who claim to be empaths and very loving, that when someone else loses their temper or struggles, what do you do? Okay. I'm not saying to be responsible. I don't believe in codependency. You should not be responsible for someone else's feelings. But I kind of took that like, okay, I don't want to be responsible. And I know this isn't about me. He's got the anger issue. And I kind of, so when
Mm.
there would be an issue
There was a
and he would,
separation.
yes, I created distance.
Mm-mm.
And in my mind, I'm like, oh, he's so immature. Like, what? He's a grown man. Why does he?
Contempt, right?
And judgment.
Yeah,
Ooh,
disgust. You're like, oh, this is disgusting.
I was
Disgust is
judging
one of the
him.
primary emotions. Yeah.
I was judging him. As
Yeah.
loving as
Yeah.
I am for most people, I was judging my husband, and it took a lot for me to realize that that was even happening.
Yeah.
But we're in a healing journey ourselves,
I love that.
and I was asked by a person who we work with to help us in our marriage. Eva, what do you do when he gets upset? Are you supportive? I was asked, are you supportive? Holy
Mm.
mackerel. No. I'm not.
Wow.
I'm
See,
calling attention to it. And I realized I was in my personal life, I was quick to judge, label, and distance. And it was preservation. So I'm forgiving myself for doing that because I was doing it to protect myself. But it wasn't a loving response. So, and again, I'm not suggesting we all throw ourselves in front of harm's way. That's not the point. But in your own mind and in your own family relationships where the likelihood of conflict is higher, you live with people, you're going to have things not work right all the time. And what are you doing in those moments? And then, okay, this is my recent learning is I need to look at my own thinking, look at my own reactions, and maybe look at how I can be supportive. What does support look like?
You know what just
So,
came to mind? This is the imagery I got is you're beside a pond, right? The pond's been settled forever. The water's clear. And your partner comes in and jumps off the pier into the pond. They're like, let's go. This is like too nice. Most people get to see you from the edge of the pond. It's clear. It's like, oh, this is subtle. This is beautiful. And then your partner's in it. So all that
yeah.
silt gets raised up because they're in it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
in relationship, because there is so much back and forth in that relationship, it will get silty, right? Stuff is going to come up. It can't help but do that because you're so involved with each other that will be there. And most other people don't ever get to that degree where they muddy the water, right? They're not allowed to jump in the
That's
pond,
true.
so to
That's
speak.
true. And then the other thing that happens is we treat people disposably if they
Go
treat
ahead.
us badly.
Right.
We protect ourselves and then we create distance and we reject.
We just never let them close enough to see
That,
the silt.
that's right. So either they don't see the silt for whatever reason, or when they are close and they mess up and they hurt us because of their own challenges of hurt.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I could do this so easily with anybody else, like other people's kids, other people like at work, more easily than I could in my own family. So that was my own realization is in my.
I would never like kick somebody out. That's rude.
What happened? Where'd Ryan go? Oh no! Talk about a visual.
Yeah, right. There's a visual. It's amazing because the more you interact with anybody, the more you see stuff. And many of us do go, I wouldn't say all of us, many of us do go to that space of creating space. Even when we're together, like we're still in relationship, and then there's this gap, right?
Yes.
And a lot of it, look, what I appreciate most about what you just shared is that we have a formula that we follow for doing the inner work. Because when you do that inner work, then the outer work starts to heal itself because it's an expression of what's going on in here. And most people are not aware, or many people are not aware of their inner world, of who they think that they don't even hear themselves say it. They'll be judging and justifying and blaming and shaming, and they won't even hear it. And so what we try and do is
let's just make one distinction, because I know this crap and I still find myself doing it.
Yeah,
I do too.
It is the awareness, like you're talking about, right?
But somebody brings it to your awareness, right? And then when they become aware, they shame themselves, they blame themselves, they cause additional harm to themselves over it. And that's where there's an opportunity to be gentle around is you're going to have judgments come up. Just don't cause additional harm. Don't see judgments and justification just take you out of learning. If you're justified and you're judgmental, you don't have to grow from that because you're justified. Why would you need to grow from something you're justified for? Right.
Yes.
And then the emotional side, they don't feel their emotions. And not only that, the whole topic of this conversation around embracing change, they resist what is, they resist what was. They're not okay with not being okay. And it causes additional harm to the whole thing. And they stay in that loop, right?
Yes.
What's coming up?
Well, and I go back to the brain and learning and what's great about this, what's beautiful about this. And the truth is, when someone chooses something different, it can be different when they decide. So even something like, growing up, I'm not good at math. there are a lot of crappy math teachers, actually. Maybe you aren't being taught math in a way that's engaging.
Yeah.
And so it's not interesting. So you're not going to want to learn something that's boring. Okay. Or doesn't captivate you. Okay. Unless you're maybe very compliant and you choose to do well in school because you're highly compliant and you seek validation through grades, right? I was not that person. I was not that person. I was the person who wanted to, I loved learning. I didn't think I was a good student because I got bad grades for a long time. And then I realized it's not that I don't like learning. I don't like the way I'm being taught. So when you choose to learn
Ooh,
things,
I like that. Yeah.
we can choose differently, and our brain is open to it. We have neuroplasticity. We can learn until we die. Like, it's limitless. It's all choices. So that's the hope, is whatever the story is, if you don't like how you feel, you can change it. You can change anything.
And that's our show, guys. Thanks. That was amazing.
It's so simple. It's so
all of our
simple.
courses.
It
Sorry,
is
did I just
simple.
spill all the
but-
content? No, I'm
No,
kidding.
it's awesome.
You did. I have nothing else to talk about now.
Oh,
but-
no.
No, it is simple, right? But
we
it's
go
it's
quiet.
not easy.
No, it's
And a
it's-
moment of silence there.
I know, right? It's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, it's all so simple. We just decide.
But we make it challenging. We're like, no, I can't. No, I couldn't just let go of my story. No, I couldn't. But what about all the things that happened to me? And there's an interesting paradox when the victim becomes the violator, right? And it happens. We take our victimness and we weaponize it. And now we become the violators because we're justified by our victimness. And many of us have that version. Even, I see Steve Hardison on here. He shared in his book, The Ultimate Coach, by Amy Hardison and Alan Thompson. They talk about his story growing up. Like, it wasn't easy. And many of us have stories like that. It wasn't easy. Ryan's got a story. I've got a story. You've got a story. And they're really just events. The story is what we add to it. Right.
That's right. And there's a song that I listened to. It's by Todd Boston, and it's called Spiral. Okay. Todd Boston, Spiral is the song.
Yeah.
And as I listen to this song, there's such a clarity in the note of each like strum of the guitar, and it's so distinct and beautiful. And as I listened to this song, it made me realize that he chose each note, right? And then he moved his fingers, and then he added a new note and new notes and new instruments, and the song sort of builds, and it has a very interesting journey in the song in and of itself. Todd Boston, Spiral.
Okay, I'm going to put a comment in here too, but keep going.
Thank you. And so when I think of music, okay, and time and life, like there's this parallel. I have a lot of really cheesy analogies, but this one is not cheesy. This one is like, oh wow, that's kind of interesting. But sometimes in order to learn, we need other examples, like in nature or cooking or food or whatever, to help us connect dots more easily.
I hope this
you stole my thunder, dude, Brian.
And
keep going. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like, what did he steal? Now I'm getting nosy. What did he steal?
I love it. Anyway,
so
people say, why is this happening to me? Or why is this happening for me? And even more powerful is, why is this happening from me? Right, as an expression. But
beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
So in this song, the realization that all of these decisions were made to get even just one note in this collection of notes that's played over time, that has this effect, right?
Yeah.
That's your life. That's your life. Your life is happening over time. You are the musician. You're choosing to learn how to play music. You're putting your every day, every moment to moment, choosing a note, choosing a melody, choosing who else adds to the tunes.
Beautiful.
Right?
Beautiful.
And
Yep.
so this is life. Like, this is our life. We're building these sour notes that have happened. We can time, they're in the past. As time goes on, the song continues, right? We choose to add the melody, the sounds, all of these different decisions, even this harmony together with you two today, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
all choices. And the
Right.
choices come from connections and decisions to take a risk. I was nervous. Yes, I've taught for many, many years, and I know that safety in the classroom is important, and being caring and loving and creating a good environment matters because our energy is contagious, right?
Yeah.
If I'm tight and upset and focused on my PowerPoint and not focused on you, that's not going to make you feel welcomed and ready to open up and receive or learn. No,
Yeah.
no. Right. So I know I kind of like went from Todd Boston Spiral song to
No,
like
it's beautiful.
to the
Let's
classroom,
stay here. Yeah.
but
Right.
there's it just the moment you start looking for the fact that you can write the music in your life, you can create moment to moment, there's a new opportunity to have a different note play.
I want to pull this up because we talk about abundance as one of our growth journeys, and people hear abundance as something you acquire. Wayne Dyer says it's not something you acquire, it's something you tune into. And if you look at this comment here, the piano or the player, it's not, there is no either or. It's an and it's a collaboration between the two. If you look at abundance, abundance is simply there. We get to decide how we'll play with it. And so the piano is there, but the player determines the music that comes from it. And if I go play it, it's going to sound terrible because I've never practiced or put myself into that. But I'm playing with the same abundance in the chords as anybody else. Somebody else will come along and create a masterpiece piece out of the same piano. I could go out of there saying, well, the piano's out of tune or the piano's this. Somebody else could come right after a Paul Cardall and just sit at the piano and bust out the most beautiful tone, or Mike Hardy, right, out of the same piano. So it's not a problem of the abundance. It's our ability to see our power within it. So every one of us has the ability to develop our skills to become the masterful piano player out of the abundance, right?
Yes. Yes. And there are misconceptions about what creates, guru level or mastery or,
Right.
proficiency, total misconceptions. And everyone has the potential. There's a phenomenal book called Talent is Overrated. It's a nerd out book. Okay. Talent is Overrated basically says 4 things that people have to do if you want to be amazing at something. And it's frankly a lot of practice, more practice than what most people can tolerate or endure or care to do. And then it's also about feedback from other experts, right? So the way in which we learn and grow and develop, you can do practically anything, right? Again, I used to think I wasn't good at math. Well, I wasn't. The moment I realized on my own that math was like a language, and if I could translate symbols to words and words to symbols fluently, then I knew math. No one taught me that. I had to figure that out because I sucked so bad at it. But I sucked so bad at it because no one was really helping me crack the code for how to learn it. But once I had a different way to learn it, I became a tutor of it, right? So people can learn just about anything. People can become better at just about anything, including learning to love themselves. And I'm witnessing that in my personal life. I've witnessed people transform their careers. I've watched people who were struggling with different things, people who would throw up before they would public speak, learn to speak to audiences of thousands. I've seen transformation that gives me ongoing hope. So it isn't just me with my own thoughts. It's like literally working with thousands of amazing people and watching them choose to grow, choose to change, choose to create what they want in their lives. And now, I'm doing more introspective work, more of if I'm doing this for others, I should do it for myself too. So while I coach and advise and help people and develop programs to foster, improved communication, improved work processes, etc., engagement, retention, blah, 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 all of that. That's all good stuff. But behind it, there is an individual, each one of us, right, that needs some sort of hope, a message of you are important, you have something to give that other people need, and then locking arms with each other to do that, to help move forward, because we can't do it alone. We cannot do this life
We just
alone.
become best friends.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yes. I love it. I love, like, this is the gift I feel I had from my mother. She poured this into me, that I love people and I want them to know that they're loved too. And you can love yourself even if others didn't give you love. And I've realized that some people, they have to fight in their heart to feel good about themselves.
And it doesn't have to do with other people. It's still that perception that's going on in here in relation to other people. It's what we think they might be thinking or think they might be feeling. And we interpret that by who we think we are. And we judge ourselves accordingly, and we suffer accordingly, or we feel joy accordingly, right? So it really comes back to the individual journey, which is where we want to place the onus, is on the individual. It is your journey. You already have that giant in there. And that's where, a lot of people want to do the do it yourself thing, the DIY. And our programs are done with you, not done for you. We walk alongside you because, like you said, to have somebody to lock arms with, to have a community to walk alongside, to bridge walk as you cross from one way of being to another is hugely powerful, right?
Yes. Yes. Never. You can do certain things alone.
Yeah.
Like, you can meditate, you can pray, you can have your own self-talk. But life is like juicy. Like, life has nooks and crannies and adventures and scary stuff, and like, don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. Do it together. And the amazing part is there's so much more we have in common. There's so much more we have in common. And the things that we think we oh, I can't tell this, I can't talk about that. No. Other people have gone through something similar. And the beauty is they can be there to cry with you, to laugh with you, to experience it. It sort of amplifies the human experience when we can share with each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
And done
anyway,
with you, right? It's that life happens for you, to you, from you, or life happens with you, right? Could even be another powerful way to say it. Is we just we're social creatures. We're wired for social connection, and when we don't have it, people die off. It's not healthy.
And the pandemic, watching a 10-year-old, my son, go through the pandemic, and I was working a lot, and he was, just this little 10-year-old in his room, isolated. It was awful. So that, sorry, I'm a very emotional person. I'm surprised it's taken this long to cry. But I, watching my son tell me things like, I don't know how to dream. And tell me, I don't remember the exact words that he said, but he was basically implying he didn't understand why he was alive and why life mattered. And I said, well, I didn't let him be alone for a while. I said, you're gonna have your computer where my mom's working. And then I told my leader at the time, I'm gonna work with my son during these hours, and I'll be online, but I may not be available at times. And then just being in the same room, I didn't do anything. I was just physically there. And I said, just be with me. And then a few weeks later, he wasn't there. I'm like, where did he go? He was in the bathtub with his computers and his books. And he's like, Mom, you type really loud. I'm like, okay, he's
Perfect.
better now. But just sometimes even just being physically there.
Right. Even this, we have friends that we are meeting for the first time, in 4 years that we didn't know before we put this together, that became members of our community, that became friends through the community. And finally, we're meeting them in person. And it's so surreal, right? That
I love it.
strangers are becoming friends, and strangers are becoming long-term relationships. And it really is like there's no shortage of strangers in the world, which means there's an abundance of friends sitting out there,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so
There are,
we,
but my mom was the one who would always say hi to people in front of those in the grocery
Mm.
store behind us. And I do the same thing. And my kids are like, but I love talking to people. I love being able to see people and connect, even if it's just a small gesture. But I think we're all truly connected. I really, really believe that we're all
Yeah.
truly connected, and it doesn't take a lot. But if you don't feel it in your heart for yourself, you're not going to extend it, right? And so the more you can learn to love yourself and then stay curious just in general, right?
Yeah.
To feed your mind and then love your heart, love yourself, love your friends and your family, and express love because it's needed. It's deeply needed.
Stay curious, my friends.
Yeah, stay curious. Oh my gosh.
Eva, I mean, this flew by, and
Yeah,
there's
it
about 4 minutes left, but I want to ask you a question. And I asked this the other day in an interview with Gary Mahler out of Tokyo. It was beautiful. The question is, if there was one question you wish you would have been asked or could be asked in this interview or at any time, what would that question be? And what would your answer be to that question? What would you want to be asked?
Maybe it's, how can people keep learning? Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah. How could people keep learning?
I'm so glad you
That's a
asked.
great question.
What a great question.
Glad I thought of that.
There are so many different ways, but two fun ones would be to keep being a child. And
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
keep being a child where you're open to what's
You are
new.
so childish.
In a good way.
Yes.
In a good way, right? Because children were sort of unabashed and
so
things
hungry.
there's space for new and
Yep.
things that we can be in awe of, and things that can make us belly laugh and like not worry. And like people that I've worked with really closely, like they know I love to laugh. I love, like, let's laugh. Like anybody could work. Like don't make work boring, make work fun. Like life should be fun. We're working. Yes, we're getting paid. Yes, be responsible. Yes, be diligent, and
Yeah.
maybe have fun. Like, but be open to your inner child, just being curious and having joy.
Perfect. What was that, one or was that both?
It's kind of both. Like
Okay.
the open, like the child, but
Be open.
openness.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there's something about the playfulness, especially when it comes to creation, is nothing's off the table. And we get so serious about life that we stop having fun. And I love that. I think that's a foundation of abundance as well as playfulness.
Playful humor is healing, laughing. Yes.
Can I
Yes.
share something real quick?
Please.
On vision creation? This would, I mean, we could do a whole show on this, but I came up with an acronym for the 12 journeys that we teach on playful creation. And it's spelled Playful, right? And number one, P is prepare the mind. And we use our 12 journeys program for that to help people prepare their mind, but prepare your mind. L is lighten up. Find tools that lighten you up. A is assert your commitment to being. So who are you being that's going to create? Y is yield to the journey of gratitude, the foundation of all abundance. I should share these. I have some quotes that go here too. So Melody Beattie says, gratitude turns what we have into enough and more. George Bernard Shaw says, life isn't about finding yourself. It's about creating yourself, right? F is fascinate. Dive deep and write clearly the vision. Imagination will often carry us to worlds that never were, but without it, we go nowhere. Carl Sagan. U for unleash, emotion, right? Emotions are the language of the soul. They are the energetic bridge between thought and manifestation. Debbie Ford. L, let it loose. To accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream, not only plan, but also believe. And Totally France, right? So playful. So the playful way of creation is all of that. And being childish is exactly that. It's opening up to everything is possible to even the person on the other side of this screen, like the one
And
that's sitting there going,
if that child is not playful, then go do some big love with that child, love on that child, heal that child, be there for
Right.
yourself and heal your wounds.
I love that. The quote for the P, right? The prepare the mind is Buddha. It says the mind is everything. What you think, you become.
Yes.
That's where it starts. Well, thank you for that beautiful question. Ryan, do you have thoughts?
Oh, so many
Rolling?
thoughts that are rolling, but one that just as we wrap up, you talked about being with you, and this hits a little bit deep for me because of some abandonment things. We got to experience a breathwork journey by Brandon Grow, and one of the most amazing humans, just lives kind of life full out, but has a heart that is he's like almost encompasses like masculinity, but then his heart is one of the most tender, loving, supportive humans that you will meet. And as we were going through this journey, many of us were letting go the emotions, the heavy emotions, and that usually expresses in the form of tears and crying and shaking and things like that. And Brandon would go around and and this is for me personally, as I was just tears were flowing down my face and I'm laying on my back and my ears are filling up with water. It's like insane. I didn't know if my
Living in
ears.
your own tears, in your own
Yeah,
ocean of tears.
I didn't know I had that much space in my ear holes for the tears.
Blub, blub,
But
blub, blub.
yeah, that's how it
Yeah.
felt, like I'm drowning in my own tears through my ears. Um, and I'm laying there feeling this so heavy. It's heavy yet releasing, and I feel hands on my shoulders. That's what I felt from you today,
Oh
is
my
being
gosh.
being with us as we're experiencing this, because there are a lot of heavy things that we hold on to. And as we're learning and going through this love journey of learning how to love ourselves so that we can then go express that, it makes a world of difference having somebody there with you. And I remember just being able to go as he's holding on to me as I'm experiencing all these things. Um, you've done that today. And I can see that you do that with others. I can feel it. And I'm so appreciative that you've learned these things and you're doing your work and then going and helping others to see that in them, and so that they can then turn around and be that with other people as well, that they can just go share that love and the support that they've felt. So thank you so much for all that you've done. I'm so grateful for all of your life's experiences, all of them, every
Thank you.
single one of them, because they are you right now, which is perfect, is beautiful, it's magical, and our past. You said there are no accidents, just how we started the show. And I'm going to end with that. There are no accidents. We're right on time. We're exactly where we were meant to be. And I'm so grateful that we're right here, right now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I
Eva,
am here. I
any
am
other
here. I'm
final
hugging
thoughts?
all of you.
I love this. As we wrap up here, we're going to wrap up the show, but there's somebody across the screen from you right now that's watching you, that's hearing you, that's listening to you, and you get to speak directly to them. Okay. Just you and them. what would you say to that person as they finish watching this show?
You have a light inside of you. You know it's there and it's shining, and you get to choose how much it shines. There's been some darkness that's splashed on you. Sometimes you've fallen in the darkness all the way, but you've pulled yourself up out of that darkness, and there's more light to give for yourself and for others. So don't stop. Keep shining, keep moving, keep shining on others. Just keep shining. Keep pulling the light. Clear away the dark. There's light in you, and just keep focusing on the light and the love that's inside of you, and let it grow. It will. It will grow as you share it.
I love it.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you both for being on here. For those that are watching, we always love your comments. They make this show amazing. Remember, like we always say, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. X is the infinite number that kind of means anything you want, but more than anything, it's used to represent love, because when you turn it inwards, that means love. And so love on yourself and let that express. We are so grateful for you. We hope you'll share this episode with somebody you love, and let them know about the giant within them. If you haven't read the book yet, The Giants and the Smalls, go to giantsandsmalls.com and check that out. And if you're not a member of our community, come be a member of our community. It's pretty great. It's the first thing cults say is it's not a cult. So it is, but it's definitely not that. But we love you. We hope you make it a giant day. Thanks for being a part of this, and we will see you in the next episode.
Love you too.